what's weird? Or I don't know, maybe a gift. I can usually tell how a house is going to sell just by looking at the upgrades someone chose. This will blow your mind. A lot of homes with the most expensive upgrades don't actually help the value at all. And today I'm going to break down 10 upgrades that feel like really smart investments but almost never are, and explain what home buyers really think when they see them. What most people don't realize is that some upgrades feel like smart investments in the moment, but they quietly work against you later when it comes to resale. So in this video, I want to walk you through 10 upgrades that tend to have the worst return, and most importantly, why that happens. And before I go any further, this isn't about rules or right and wrong. It's about giving you the context buyers use when they're deciding what a house is worth, and being honest about the fact that some upgrades will cost you money you won't get back. And hey, if you love it and it makes you happy, that's okay. Go for it. And I'll tell you up front, I've done one of these upgrades myself and I still love it and I don't regret it for a second. I just went into it knowing exactly what I was getting and what I wasn't. This is just about understanding what to expect on the back end. Most disappointment I see around renovations doesn't come from the upgrade itself. It comes from people assuming it will pay them back later and then being surprised when it doesn't and they feel like they've wasted all this money. The first upgrade that consistently hurts resale more than people expect is, I don't know if this will be surprising to you, but it's the wall-to-wall carpet. And I know this can be controversial, so please don't blow me up in the comment. A lot of people prefer carpet. It feels warmer, it's softer on your feet, and some families feel like it's more comfortable day to day. The issue isn't comfort. The issue is how future buyers will see it. And even when it's brand new carpet, home buyers will still walk in there and they're not thinking, great, I don't have to do anything. They're thinking, what is it going to cost to get this removed and get it replaced? Carpet wears faster, it holds on to stains and allergens, and even when it's the most professionally cleaned, it rarely feels truly new for very long. And most home buyers factor that in immediately. So what do you do instead? Hardwood. It's something buyers expect and they're willing to pay for it. Refinishing existing hardwood or installing it where it makes sense tends to outperform carpet every single time. And I know you're thinking to yourself, well, what about carpet in the bedrooms? It's just a personal choice. Just know that more home buyers almost always see it as a future expense, not an upgrade. The second upgrade is large backyard patios and outdoor fire features. And I see this one a lot, especially here in Georgia when you can use that stuff most of the year. I have one. I love mine. We use it all the time. But the disconnect happens when people assume outdoor features add dollar for dollar value. In fact, I usually see buyers asking for outdoor furniture to be thrown in for free when they make an offer. And I get it. Patios and fire pits add a lifestyle appeal, especially here in Georgia. Just know it adds $0. Some home buyers love them, some just don't care at all, and others worry about maintenance or lost yard space. Either way, it just doesn't move the needle. This is a great example of an upgrade that absolutely is worth doing for your own enjoyment, but it shouldn't be done with the expectation that it will significantly increase your home's resale value. All right. This third one is probably going to cause an argument, but that's okay. Let's talk about swimming pools. This one always gets strong reactions, especially in warmer climates like ours. Pools are amazing if you love them. They're also expensive to build, they're expensive to maintain, and they're expensive to insure. From a resale perspective, pools definitely narrow your pool of buyers, no pun intended. Some buyers won't consider a pool at all, especially families who don't want the maintenance or just the added insurance cost. Others will only consider it if the price already reflects the upkeep and long-term cost. Here in Atlanta, pools can help in certain situations, especially if you're selling during the summer months. What I see is half of the buyers will see a pool as a plus, and the other half just look at it as extra work and extra maintenance and extra costs they just don't want to take on. So if you put a pool in, how much money can you expect to get back? As a rule of thumb here in Georgia, I usually tell people around 60 to 70% of what you spent installing the pool. But that can depend a lot on the neighborhood, the price point, and how well the pool fits to the house. And let me say this, a pool doesn't automatically make a house more valuable. It just makes it more specific. If you want a pool and you'll use it, put one in. Just know it's not a financial upgrade, it's just a lifestyle choice. The fourth upgrade is high maintenance landscaping. This includes elaborate gardens, exotic plants, koi ponds, fountains, anything that requires constant attention. Homebuyers appreciate the curb appeal, they just get nervous about the responsibility. When buyers see landscaping that looks expensive to maintain, their first thought isn't, oh my God, this is so beautiful. They start thinking about the upkeep, the time, and the cost. This is when simple, clean, and manageable almost always performs better than impressive but demanding. And the fifth one is one that I see a lot, especially in older homes. It's converting the garage into a living space. I understand why people do this. The family grows and extra space feels necessary. The challenge is that most home buyers value garages more than the additional living space. Garages serve multiple purposes: parking, storage, flexibility. Once that's gone, buyers immediately think about what they're losing. And this may surprise you. Converted garages, even if they're completely finished out, don't appraise the same way people expect. Buyers factor in the cost of reversing the change or adding the storage elsewhere. This is another upgrade that can make sense for your life, but it rarely adds the value people hope it will. And I also want to add, when a garage or carport has been enclosed, it's really obvious. And this kind of ties into my sixth one, adding a sunroom. Sunrooms feel like extra space, but appraisers and homebuyers don't view them the same way as interior square footage. They aren't counted the same way, and they don't always function year-round, and they often feel like a bonus space rather than true living areas, especially in the summer because they get extremely hot unless you add an HVAC system to it. And listen, people love them, they're just not going to pay significantly more for them. There's just a gap between cost and perceived value, and that's where the disappointment tends to show up. The seventh upgrade is heavily customizing a home office, which I have obviously done, but hey, I like it and I think it makes these videos look better, so I'll just fix it if we ever go to sell our house. In all seriousness, when a home office becomes too built out, people start seeing the limitation instead of options, and they wonder how hard it will be to change the room back. So you can plan to do what I would do if I ever go to sell my home, is that I would just make this room a little more generic before those listing photos are done. The eighth upgrade is an ultra high-end kitchen. Kitchens matter. Kitchens and bathrooms are what sells homes, and updating them makes total sense. And it tends to give you a big return on your money, but overspending is where people get in trouble. Luxury appliances and custom finishes like custom cabinets appeal to a specific buyer and not every buyer. And once the kitchen outpaces the neighborhood, the return starts to drop. The ninth upgrade I want to talk about is adding a large primary suite addition. I see this one come up a lot here in Atlanta, especially in the 1950s ranches. Many of these homes either don't have a true primary bathroom at all, or it is so small it doesn't work for a lot of people. So the instinct is to add it on. The challenge is these projects are expensive and they can be complicated, and they often change the way the outside of the house looks, and people just notice it right away. So it's extending it over a garage or adding an addition onto the back of the house. It just kind of messes up the proportions of the house, and it doesn't flow with the original design, and it stands out. From a resale standpoint, these additions rarely return what people expect them to financially. Even though you're adding square footage, and people don't always value the space dollar for dollar, especially when the addition feels clearly newer and the rest of the house feels older. And design is a big factor here. Roof lines, window placement, and how the addition connects to the original house will all affect the way people feel about it when they pull up. When something feels off, buyers hesitate, and hesitation is usually where value starts to slip. Listen, not all additions are bad ideas. I've seen some that have dramatically improved the value of a home, and they can significantly improve how you live in the home day to day. I'm just saying it needs to be planned with realistic understanding of cost and design. And pro tip, if you are going to do an addition, I would highly recommend hiring a professional architect and or designer. Okay, the 10th upgrade is a full bathroom remodel with luxury finishes. Bathrooms need to be updated. That's completely normal. It's the luxury finishes where people tend to get frustrated because it doesn't add value for value. In my opinion, I just think most people can't tell the difference between marble and quartz. So if you just keep it simple, keep it clean, it will outperform high-end and specific all day, every day. Upgrades are not good or bad on their own. Everything depends on context, the house, the neighborhood, and how people are likely to see it later. Where people get tripped up is assuming that loving an upgrade means it automatically adds the same value on resale, or the renovation cost will be met dollar for dollar when it's time to sell, and that's just usually not how it plays out. The upgrades that usually work best are the ones you enjoy while you're living there without making the house harder to sell later. That usually means focusing on updates that improve how the house functions day to day, keeping the finishes neutral enough that people can picture themselves there, but also being mindful of how much you're putting in compared to the rest of the neighborhood. It's less about doing everything and more about making thoughtful changes that still leave room for the next person to make it their own. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you on the next one.